All right, yeah, we good now. I think.
Mm.
Yeah, we
Yes,
good. All
yes, we're
right.
live. We're live.
Yeah, we live, baby.
I'm gonna send it in the Discord.
Yeah, and at everyone too. If
Gotcha.
they don't like the ping, then they'll have to deal with hearing me sing. Ooh.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Step in. You know how Kid Cudi do. Never really care about a hater, homie. What it do? Yeah. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. On Dice's soul, it's not my fault. It was my fault.
Let me.
Gang, gang.
There. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There we go.
Yeah, man. YouTube was just being on some bullshit. I blame Trump.
That seems to be the
Oh,
the
come
go-to.
on.
I mean, let's not get into it. Oh, 1 second.
How y'all holding up tonight? Will, Sony, Lucas, Jr.
Okay.
What is Artemis, Will? Put me on game. Who is Artemis and what did they launch?
YouTube great again.
Uh, what's good, Cascade?
Hmm.
Oh man, Kazane's bitch ass. What's up, Sword Saint
What's
or
good
not
now,
Sword
Source
Saint?
State?
KJ, bro, sound like an android. Oh, don't tell me the fucking. That's the last thing I need.
No, you sound fine. I think probably just memeing. Probably just memeing.
I don't know. Let's see.
We back at it tonight with another theory stream. Got some fun things to get into, some theories to entertain.
Yeah,
Of course, we're gonna be chatting with y'all, see where y'all's mind is at. But yeah, last chapter was definitely something.
yeah, man. The cliffhanger though. That cliffhanger
Yeah.
though. I mean, shit, from start to end. I mean, we started with a baddie jump scare and ended with that the ominous tree.
Yes. Yes. Kind of tree that has become all too familiar.
It's like that Cuddy song, and I can't forget that tree. Na 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 na.
Let me pull up the chapter as well.
Yo,
Ooh.
Kabanabi HQ in this thing. A brick wall. Yo, brick wall. Facts. We were so wrong. Literally, like the complete opposite of what we said. She was on first page,
First
first
page.
panel. Yeah.
I was right about something though.
This is how you know somebody don't be hitting their theories, don't be hitting for shit when they say I was right for something. Cause hey, dead ass
Oh, but
though, I'd be like that too.
but let me see. Do you remember what I one of the random predictions I had mentioned? Let's see if you
Well, I know you
remember.
said you always thinking a zombie is gonna pop up.
Yeah, and he did.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. With his as like a little kid, they really did make Kunishige look like a little bum child.
Yeah, he's the only one with no sleeves.
All right, Mar.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yo, Lucas said best flashback chapter so far. I agree. We got to see like
Yeah, I think
everybody
so.
too. We got to see everybody, and
Oh,
all right. So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
guess we'll
yeah.
start with like me filling out my Shiba apology form since he was such a good wingman, right?
Oh, you're doing this now? This soon?
Fuck no, baby. It's April Fools.
Okay, I fell for it. I'll admit it. I fell for it.
Nah, but W's man's Shiba. W man's excellent character. We love Shiba.
You still April fooling?
I don't know.
uh, okay, so of course we're gonna be talking about Hishaku today. Like, I don't think that's much of a surprise, really.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean my bad, y'all. Let me stop. I forgot he had shooters like that. I was so nice to him last stream.
oh yeah, man,
Well, no,
don't
I
get them
said
riled up.
my bad, Dice. I said Mal. I said on Dice's soul, the stream itself was gonna happen. That the stream itself wasn't April Fools. I'm not saying they're gonna be some shenanigans within the stream. And Lucas, why you calling me out in the Discord, by the way?
What they call you out about?
When I said something about I think Sheba, and he was like, "Bro, is just stating his normal takes." I was like, God, no.
Uh,
But no, my bad for cutting you off, brother.
uh,
What were you
no,
saying?
I wasn't saying anything.
Just saying shit.
Yeah, just saying shit. You know me. Nothing.
You wanna do
Nothing's
the
crazy.
you wanna do the things?
The things. What are we talking about?
The YouTube that they were so graciously to give us the re-up. How many people we got in here?
Oh, we can do that in a minute. You don't have to rush to that. We can do that in a minute.
I want to get my boy Zoni.
Yeah. The real ones. I'm hoping some of the real ones get some memberships. We're gonna be giving out 5 memberships today, gang. So stick around. Stick
We
around.
gonna mud
Hopefully.
wrestle. We gonna mud wrestle to see who gets those gifted.
Yeah, hopefully some of the real ones can get some memberships, man. For real.
Facts. All right.
For
But
real.
I guess we get a little bit more on a subject here. We got people in the chat now. I did see some predictions from you guys. Shaku's name reveal, I believe. A brick wall. A brick wall for a wall. They be cooking. I gotta say.
Yeah, brick wall be cooking. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Let's see. Anybody else got any predictions before me and Dice jump into it? Let's see. Angry Demon Noise says another bunk ass theory I have is that Hishaku's black eye is some Datanseki artifact. Yeah, or if he whips out those Datanseki grills. Woo!
No, that's the Shikoku guy, bro.
Hey, that might be the same. Two things could be true. Jello, jelly.
Yeah, this is probably more or less along the same line, but I've seen other people mention that it could be more along the lines of the dark power. That's like more specific to Magatsumi. So like essentially pretty much like the Datanseki, but in its most purest, most obscure form beyond the true realm, what even Kunishige couldn't comprehend.
That Datanseki.
We'll see.
That's what Hishaku is.
Okay.
Yo,
I mean, we know the Sazanami also have some similar thing going on, and I'm pretty sure it's nothing related to that. But Hachaku's gonna be different. Hachaku's gonna be different. We know that.
I mean, it could like that eye. He could just have a really like bad case of pink eye that got really agitated. As they got that little butthole eye. I mean, I've seen a lot of
The whole
theories.
life's crazy.
The whole I just don't like Hat. I mean, I I'll accept Shaku for hit like he. I don't know. Like if we see somebody pull up with bad fashion sense to the meeting, like if next chapter actually does show us like starts with the meeting or it just shows us the meeting, if we see somebody pull up with bad fashion sense, then we know like Hashaku's in there.
You're always shitting on his fashion sense, man.
No, bro. People stopped wearing fedoras like back in like what 2012 club days.
Let him be, man. Let him be.
The only
Let him be.
person that could pull off a fedora in this day is Neo, and I'm not talking about the one. I'm talking about the R&B singer.
Oh my god. We're not doing that, man. We're not doing that, man. I saw Mal say might be Brazil propaganda, but I'm gonna say Chiaki is alive. Yeah, I mean, I'll get into a little something that I've also seen Brazil kind of push. So there's definitely a bit of that I think also potentially relates to Hatshaku some way somehow. Um, Ty, but I was thinking about kicking things off with more or less what you and me were talking earlier today about like the Hishaku reveal. Um, I kind of want to watch out for Naruto spoilers a bit, even though I'm pretty sure most here have,
That shit
read or
ended 10
seen
years ago,
Naruto.
bro.
Yeah, I know, but okay,
Nah, I'm
so
just playing. I'm
yeah, I
playing.
guess.
We could tiptoe around it.
Yeah, we'll tiptoe around it. But what do you think about starting the conversation in terms of Hatshaku being more than just this kind of final villain that just steps in last minute and it turns out that he was behind it all along and he uh, took advantage of this guy and manipulated that guy and I told you that I think something like that would be a bit underwhelming just because it's not something that at this point we don't see coming. In fact, I would argue that more people see that sort of thing coming than not. So where are you kind of standing on this, and as well as let's open up the discussion to the chat and see what they think.
I guess to start with on like thinking. So had Shaku, right? I think best. I don't want to say best case scenario because the story is pretty wide open. Like we're attacking this with like the what it seems to look like, and I mean let's not kid ourselves. Excuse me. Aside from Samura's like plot twist, Hokazono has like approached a lot of these twists in the story pretty straightforward. Now that could be to, you know, um, you know, like play up for like a big twist down the line. Um, who knows? But if he does like approach this straightforward, let's just say that Hachaku could be Zetsu done right. And by what I mean by that is like the execution's there, the supplemental writings there. There's enough. There's enough of a an actual character for us to like kind of grab hold. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. I was loud. Oh, bro.
Shout out Jello.
Jelly, fuck yeah, baby. Dude, you just. Oh my god. I think I just almost gave birth. God damn, I gotta turn that shit down. W's Jelly says, any newcomers, Dice and Tibby got a Discord server, so please join his Shaku Hideout Discord server to be a part of Lit AF community. He who XOXO love you. Yeah, we hug and kiss.
Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, we hug and kiss sometimes, but as homies though. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. You real fuck for that.
I mean, he's
So, yeah, go ahead, you were
he's
talking about
kind of real. Let's not gas him up too much. I mean, I'm just playing. That's my guy. But if I hit that, if that sound go off again before I lower this volume, I may not be around. I'll be deaf. I'm sorry. But no, so like Zetsu done right, Hachaku becoming an actual character, like enough to grab hold enough to grab on to like his character and to have a full character arc, right? He's the first villain we've seen. He's, a notable enough sorcerer that like he's a viable option as a villain. We just don't know what his actual goal is, and I hope that if he is a Zetsu type, it isn't to further along someone else's agenda or someone else like being the villain. I hope he's doing it for himself. He's just kind of like positioning himself as the number two. God damn it! I knew it. I I lowered my headset. Jesus Christ, bro! I need to turn that down. I think
You got it for that, Joey.
Yeah.
Appreciate you again, man.
He said boo. Don't call me your boo. But I appreciate you, bro. Let me turn this sheet. Wait. All right, so just let y'all know that thing is like set at 50 on standard. The other alerts are at volume like 8 or 12, so you can get an idea of just how drastic.
I have to have the stream muted, just so.
But no, I mean,
yeah,
it's all about execution when it comes to Hishaku, though. Like in all seriousness, like that's the big thing. What does he have to play in all this? What's his like origin? Like I think his origin's gonna be like the big thing. Like real shit. If we do approach this meeting and we see someone that resembles Hatshaku, that's gonna kind of like add to the the allure, like the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the nail when you said execution, right? Because that can change everything. Even a subpar plot twist or reveal with the proper execution can definitely hit a lot more. And I'm totally with you there. Like even if we're talking about the most in terms of Hatshaku specifically, like I said, him being this guy that's kind of manipulating things from behind the scenes, being an Islander, having been involved since the beginning some way or somehow at this point really wouldn't be crazy, but how Hokuzono kind of brings that to the forefront can change everything. And part of the execution, it's not just like you said, like the character writing, it's also the timing of when that happens and how that happens, how he potentially intervenes in something else that could be going on. Like the timing, I think of it could has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And even if it is, like I said, a very predictable reveal, if it happens at the right time, the perception of it, like I've said, it can be just completely different, and it can overshadow the plot twist itself, just in terms of when that takes place, right? Whether it's like interrupting some encounter between Chihiro and Soga, right? Like let's say just right as Chihiro and just kind of like randomly spitting here, but as Chihiro's about to like land a decisive blow on Soga, Hatshaku intervenes or something like that. It's kind of like that sort of thing that can really um, just sway people's perception of the whole thing, and how that twist itself is remembered, whether it's a particularly good plot twist or not.
Yeah, like the one thing I think is big for this is what does Hokuzono actually intend to show us? Like, with Hatshaku specifically in this, like, since that's what the topic we're on, he can't give us like the whole like his whole playbook right now, obviously, because what would we do? Cut back to present time, and then it would definitely be a bit jarring to leaving from where we left off of the present time, like, and presumably of what I think will come back to, like, it would be weird to have a lot of Hatshaku's story or like background at that given point. Like, so I don't think we're gonna get a ton of Hatshaku stuff in the Seitei War arc, but I think this will basically be the, I don't want to say the bigger like clues or character moments, but really we just have breadcrumbs and guesses. That's all we really have. Because like Lucas brings up a good point, saying the reason why he wasn't at the Kabanabi HQ is because he didn't want to risk getting seen by anyone that might be able to like recognize him. So it makes sense for him
Yeah,
to
that's a very good point.
keep his distance. Now Samura hasn't been brought in yet. So him being an EB wielder, had Shaku can still be at that meeting and not and still be like confront Samura and things like that. Like that can still be perfectly fine. Let's see.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I how much like just talking personally, I just don't know how much I want him involved in I guess the greater like aspect of the story. But to be honest with you, the way that everything's kind of set up, like the big bad villain, right? Soga or Akamura, excuse me. There, he has to have a change of character, of course, and that's the big thing we're going to get with this flashback. But there's got to be, and I think there's something more than just Shikoku and the war that kind of maybe instigated that, and maybe that's where Hishaku comes into play. And I mean, I've also seen a lot of crazy theories. Well, actually, I say that I try not to like read too much into them. I've seen some theories about like Chiaki and her having a hand to play. So that would be a very interesting route that I didn't even like consider. But to be honest, I wasn't really thinking on Chihiro mom theories until I've actually got to meet her in story. And now that we met her, now I'm gonna have to start looking and like really start digging into what her existence means to the world. Because I mean, she plays a pivotal part. But where's the Soga clan present time? Where if they didn't get wiped out, that is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, for me, I think it makes a lot more sense. And hey, maybe this is exactly what Hogazono wants us to think, but everything points towards the Soga clan just not being around.
I agree.
So essentially they were wiped out some way, some form. Hey, maybe just like Shikoku just appeared, maybe the Soga clan just disappeared. So
Ooh.
yeah, we'll have to see. And I kind of say that jokingly, really, but just like we'll have to see what exactly happened to them. But I think it's pretty clear that they're not around. I mean, the way it's stated in this last chapter is they were pretty much the backbone of the Sorcery Bureau, and it's because of them that the other clans are able to kind of just fall in line, and that's how they're kept in check. And it's not a coincidence that without Soga clan, without the EBs, that's how we get the world that we see in present day. So yeah, I also do agree with you about the theories in terms of entertaining this idea that Chiaki could be more involved than we think, and her not just being dead. I do think it's very, at this point, it's, I would almost say it's 50-50 whether she's dead or not, because this whole prophecy thing just opens the door for so many things. The fact that there could be connections to Yura is like a whole nother can of worms. And this is what I kind of like was alluding to earlier when I brought up Brazil. I think I've seen Brazil kind of also entertain this idea of her being the final villain. I think I've seen Piku as well kind of talk about that. So shout out to those guys. I think something like that would also be very interesting. I don't know if Hokazono would do that, with a character like Chiaki, but it's like you said, we haven't really kind of like, she just came into the story, right? Like as her own character, she's just this is her first chapter in, and it's like now is when we kind of start entertaining all these things and ideas and potential theories about what exactly is her role in all this. I mean, we talked a bit about this with Noah, but like the markings under both her and Yura's eyes, this idea of the prophecy, it's the connection to Hatshaku, especially if he was an islander, the fact that Chiaki got her abilities as soon as the island of Shikoku appeared. There is definitely connections here. We just don't know what they are. But I think in due time we're gonna see kind of like the fog, go away, and we're gonna see how exactly these characters are linked to each other. And I don't think it's crazy at all to assume that Chiaki's prophecies could have gotten the better of her. I mean, I've seen a lot of discussion of whether she saw the malediction coming, and if she did she see that it was her brother? Could she have interpreted it as something else, which kind of leads Japan to make a certain move that ultimately spells destruction? Right? I think that is something very important or not important, but I think that's something worth entertaining. If one of Chiaki's prophecy, or the way it's interpreted, is what ultimately kicked off this whole thing, if it is real that the Shikoku royal family came with diplomatic intentions of wanting to, like, okay, yeah, let's just agree on the mining of Datanseki and settle this peacefully, and some vision of Chiaki kind of gets in the way of that. Um, yeah, and we'll get to Hishaku more in a bit and who exactly he could be. Um, but yeah, I think that's all worth entertaining and looking at.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's, to be honest, this is probably one of the only times that I don't really have a concrete like theory. Usually I have something that I feel strongly about, but I feel like with the introduction of Chiaki and the Soga clan, like as a whole entity, and what they mean to the world, I'll be honest. I'll say, like, I did not think the like I thought it was very possible for the Soga clan to have influence, but not to the extent like they say, like the sorcery borough owes their existence to them and shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's crazy.
the weight of the word of their words, and the fact that like Chiaki or the Soga princess is like this symbol of this relationship between society and sorcery, or the government and sorcery. And like, and I kind of brought this up in the episode with Noah, but the Rakuzaichi has been going on far longer, than the war. And the fact that Chiaki and the Soga princess is kind of basically saying that the sorcerers will not, involve regular civilians, in the world of sorcery. But now that this is what makes me think that like the Soga clan's gone for good, is because we see like Mr. Inazuma's sister, she doesn't have a part to play in sorcery, yet she was merchandise in the Rakuzaichi. So
Mm-hmm.
they are now including humans in their auction.
Yeah,
And
no, for sure,
like
for sure. That's a good observation.
it's really comes down to, I mean, I think the big things here, it's how's this meeting gonna go? Was there an inciting incident to actually, like, is it just a like, I don't know how I want to phrase this. Is it just a coincidence that her powers, like, she awakened her powers when Shikoku appeared? Maybe it was like a time of need type of thing, and it wasn't like brought on by anything external. It was more just like a you know the sorcery world needed that, so it awakened type of thing, like fate. Or if there
Yeah, like to
was,
maintain balance, like
yeah,
Shikoku appears, so like it offsets by her having the prophecy. That's a good one. I hadn't considered that.
like that, or if there's actually some shenanigans going on and Shaku's at the root of it. It does say like
Mhm.
the letter they dropped off was inscribed in Japanese. Is
Mhm.
Shikoku just a advanced civilization, and they just can kind of like how aliens will be able to mimic speech and all that? Is it kind of something along that they just can automatically learn Japanese, or is Hatshaku somehow playing like an intermediary and being a middleman? Like he's Japanese, but he somehow has ties to Shikoku, but he's not exactly you know full from Shikoku either. Like there's so many avenues that we could go with this.
Yeah, the letter being written in Japanese, I think is it's interesting because at first, um, to me, I didn't really it didn't really kind of stand out too much to me. Like I've mentioned this before, but this is a world with sorcery, and whether it's the type of sorcery where like it's written and it's just manifested like in the language of whoever reads it kind of thing, whether it's some sort of a
True.
translation sorcery. Like it's originally for me, I wasn't really paying too much attention to that, but I have seen kind of like a lot of people mention that, that specifically in certain implications. And I am a bit swayed in the sense that, like, okay, there could be something there, and what you're saying with Hatshaku would definitely make sense. Whether it's Hatshaku, I've also seen kind of theories of there have been spies in Japan beforehand. I've seen people throwing around the idea that they might have just kind of watched and learned from the Japanese, or even kind of learn from hostages if they ever took any. There's like a lot that we can kind of look at and entertain, but it's definitely not crazy to think that it is a hint towards there being something more there, right? Like I do think I was wrong in just quickly brushing over that or not really paying it too much mind. But you did bring up the Hiroshima talks, and a big point is like, how is that gonna go? And I think we all have a pretty general idea of how that's gonna go, in the sense that it's likely not gonna end well. Um, and I do want to just kind of like stay there for a bit. I don't know if there's any theories you kind of want to entertain of what exactly goes down in those Hiroshima talks.
Well, the things that kind of like stick out to me is that during like for the treaty to be signed, the Shikoku royal family got dethroned. So that's one big thing that like later on in the war that I would like to see what led to that, or who made that call, or not who made that call essentially, but how that whole dynamic played out. And seeing that the royal family, that at least tells me that the royal family doesn't just have like this like absolute grip over the people of the island. You know what I mean? It's not like something that they just had to like kind of, their fate was tied to the royal family. They actually dethroned them. So but that does tell me that there is, they look at it as there's blame to place on them. So I think there will be like a bit of hubris, both ways. You know what I mean? But I just like Shikoku's going into that meeting knowing they have the upper hand though. Like it, just everything that they have, because it's not like they weren't even trying to kill the people that were going to get the Datanseki per se, on Hiroshima when it first like started popping up. And by the way, what caused that incident to happen exactly? How, like, what exactly made for Hiroshima to start, sprouting Datanseki?
Yeah, no, that is also a something worth pointing at that we really don't know.
Yeah, because like
also
think of it like this. My bad, Dave, but like think of it like this.
Oh, you're good.
For every big theory, there's probably like 2 or 3 hard questions that are that are for and or against it. Like the story can go so many ways, and it's just, like I said, I'm kind of conflicted to like really like place my finger on how I feel about everything, because just how like what if Chiaki does have a bigger part to play in the present time? What I see, Mal said Chiaki secretly being the witch that we saw in Soya. Soya is extra. I was about to say
fucking magic.
chat ban him, ban Mal's. She too fine to look like that. Nah, but that would be crazy. But like if she does have a part to play, because I didn't think that she would actually have like like legit prophecies. Obviously now it sounds silly considering they said Princess Soga,
Princess Chiaki's prophecies.
Yeah, like my dumbass was, I'm a JJK fan, bro. I can't read. But so it's like
Uh,
this is one time that usually I'm like pretty confident on how I feel, but like yeah, Jello said that's the exciting part about Kagurabachi. It can go anywhere. Yeah, the weekly experience has always been one of my favorite things about Bachi because even when we get answers, it just digs deeper on the larger mystery at hand.
Yeah, I mean that's happened at least twice now in this flashback with like when we got more in the first chapter of the Seitei War, when we start getting more about Shikoku, we immediately find out that there's this whole other island, right? So that kind of speaks to what you're saying. And now with the Chiaki, we start getting more information on what is this prophecy, and it's like a whole nother bunch of crazy questions are raised as soon as we enter these Hiroshima talks.
Yeah.
And I am kind of with you. Like, there's nothing I'm firmly standing on in terms of, oh, I think this is gonna happen. Besides the fact that I think some shit's gonna go down, which isn't really going off on or going on much of a
He's reaching
limb.
for a
Um,
sword.
yeah, like I do. Kind of part of me thinks that Chiaki's gonna get some sort of vision about how these Hiroshima talks are gonna go, and that those visions are gonna be fragmented, like she states, and it's gonna be hard for her to interpret what exactly is going on. You did bring up a good point about like Shikoku kind of thinking at least that they have the upper hand, that they're the ones that hold the cards. I even though for most of the stream and I think most of the episode as well, I kind of entertained the idea that they are coming into this with humble intentions. I, I'm pretty sure I also mentioned the fact that we shouldn't also be too quick to think that that's the case, just because they have demonstrated intentions of wanting to talk this out and that sort of thing. We shouldn't kind of overlook the fact that they could be baiting Japan in. And whether that is the case or it isn't, I think something along those lines in terms of paranoia from Japan's side is what's kind of gonna unfold. And I think it's very likely that that paranoia from both sides is what leads to this Hiroshima talks not going the way they should. I personally don't think that Hachaku's behind the scenes pulling the strings and he's like gonna take advantage or setting this up. Like I don't think Hachaku goes way back. I at least like to this degree. I think it's more likely that whatever happens, Hachaku is a victim of it. I told you, Ty, that I can see a situation where like Hachaku is supposed to be the heir within the royal family, and then whatever ends up happening in these Hiroshima talks, Hatshaku loses his family. And sure, that might be a bit cliche. A lot of what we've entertained or a lot of what we looked at is a bit kind of a cliche. It's in terms of like again, Hatshaku being this final villain to jump in or whatever, right? Um, but yeah, I don't think he's kind of like, I don't think he's standing behind that pine tree.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
just gonna poke out
uh,
that thing. He's just you're like that that gif of Shaq hiding behind that small ass tree.
yeah,
That's gonna be
yeah.
yeah, bro. I don't
Angry
know.
Demon Noises says those are all bots. Shout out to you for giving out those gifted. At least Kid Mo got one. Shout out Kid Mo. I don't think he's in here, but or they're in here. But
Um,
at least I recognize King Mo. And shout out to everyone else. Another day, another loss for it. Man, I'm sorry, Mango. Sorry, Mango. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. We will likely be giving out another 5 next stream, so hopefully it's not another
yeah.
loss for you
You know
then.
what? I'm gonna just. I'll tell
I
you
don't
why
think he'll be
after.
invited,
I'm just gonna.
but he's
they
definitely
they
more
gotta roll
important than
again,
he
bro. I'm
lets
taking
on.
a chance. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Look. We Jello's in this thing.
At least Jello got okay. Jello, Shadow Jello. Who else? I only see 3 in my screen.
Damn, they cheated us. All right, there's the other two. Damn, bro, they really like hating on Miles and Zone.
uh,
That's crazy. All right, we did what
yeah,
we
it
could,
sucks to see.
but
Hang in there, fellas. Hang in there. How do I gift
Yeah,
those?
you're probably on your phone. You can't gift them from an iPhone. That's one stupid thing about Apple. Like when you're on your iPhone, you can't gift subs. I don't think you can give subs through there, which is stupid.
But
But yeah, my bad, bro.
no, no, you're good. Black Enigma, I think, brings up a good point. I don't think it'll be a final villain, but he's definitely more important than he lets on. Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like at this point, something like that would be a bit more, to me, kind of more interesting. Him being kind of a very key figure that either assisted the final villain, whether it's someone like Chiaki or whether Yura comes into play, or what his relationship to Soga is. I think that sort of dynamic would be a much more interesting to see. Him kind of being just um damn it, I'm kind of, I don't have the word for it right now, but more like in whether it's an intermediary, but somebody that is just kind of like made things happen, just made sure to see them through, versus a guy that's kind of standing at the end of the line. um
Yeah, just
i
waiting to
i
snake
I
somebody
second
at
that.
the very end to like make a thing happen. Like
Yeah.
like if he is gonna like kind of be the springboard for someone else to get like props to power, it would be I would want to see like him actually like making moves, and he's already the first villain we see in the entire story. He's popped up against Samura. He's been an active part of the Hishaku, and he never really like was gave a feeling of him being pressed or worried about his like situation, even going up against Samura. Like he knew not to like play with Samura when he whipped that Toby Mune out. But he was smart, like he wasn't in danger. He got out of there no problem. And he wasn't even like in any danger during the fight before he got Toby Mune. He was just using the zombies basically. Um, and I want to go backtrack a little bit because we're spending a lot of time on just
Mhm.
Hishaku. Let's talk about
Yeah.
117, and I guess I guess where we both think it's going to start at, and what do we think the end point's going to be? If you have an idea, or because do you think that's going to start with the talks on Hiroshima, the royal family's meeting with the Soga clan and the Sorcery Borough, or whoever is going to have those talks with them?
So I think it's gonna go more or less like what I just mentioned about Chiaki. I think it's gonna start with Chiaki having some bad premonition and the lead up to what that is. Um, I right now it would be kind of like what I just said. I have a feeling that she's gonna get a vision, and that it's not exactly what it looks like, or it's fragmented or something along those lines, and that's ultimately what's going to cause the friction in those Hiroshima talks. And by the end of the Hiroshima talks, I think we're just going to see some bullshit go down, and it's just going to be the start of the war. Basically, I think the end of next chapter will trigger the war as we know it.
Okay, yeah, because like everything that we've learned about the Seitei War. Well, first off, it's been misinformation. Like the panel that they show of Shikoku invading the shores of Japan back in the first like reveal was just them dropping off a letter. They had, they didn't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
anything, sideways, or they didn't do, nothing, no ill will. They just dropped a letter off and dipped. So, like that I thought that was kind of, I mean, I think it's to be expected to some degree, but like to just outright show us that was kind of crazy. One thing I'm hoping that when we see the talks, I kind of brought this up in the episode, that I think it'd be cool if we see their royal guard, toting the flame bone on it, on him. That would be real
Yeah,
cool
that
to.
would be cool. Yeah.
That's one cool thing I think that would be real. That would like kind of just lend itself to a lot of theories going on, and at least help us understand what where it came from. Because we know that where the EBs came from. Now, we also talked about this theory of what if Kunishige actually got the idea for the EBs from Flamebone. which would make sense. Like imagine Samura and Soga and Azami 3v1 the guy wielding Flame Bone somehow. You know, like obviously Flame Bone, we don't know what it's capable of, but in theory, just say they manage to like sneak the guy that has it, and they take it from Shikoku, and then that's what kind of springboards Kunishige, you know, using that as like a template essentially for the EBs. That's one thing that I would like to. I think it would just be cool to see the Flame Bone being like with the royal family's guard when they come. Now I don't think Chiaki's going to be at that meeting. You know, she don't really have. You know,
No, I
she's.
don't think so
You
either.
know, there's no point of her. Like she's too precious to Japan as a whole, not just sorcery, but Japan as a whole, because she helps out with like earthquakes and natural disasters, all these things. You know, so like she's not gonna be there, but is Sheba gonna be there? Because Sheba hasn't seen Hishaku, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
You know, so that's Sheba pulling up there, and maybe now we also know Akamura is not at he doesn't have his station yet. He's too young. You know what I mean? So he's not gonna be there. I don't want to see Hasumi's sleepy ass like being the only character. You know what I mean?
No, I think this is what I responded to Black Enigma in chat as well. I think we're gonna see the bowler hat mustache guy.
Yeah,
I
I can
think
see
that's
that.
kind of one guy. Yeah, he
Maybe
was the guy in the middle.
Ichiki pops up. Maybe
Hmm.
because he is like him and Kazan plus that guy you're talking about. They were all like important pieces of the treaty. They were the ones shown. And Black Enigma, you doubt Sheba would be there, mind you. Sheba has so much like clout in the Sorcery Borough that the Soga clan, like the mother of the Soga clan, like she looks like she's running the whole clan, unless there is a father that we just haven't seen yet. But she's telling them to fire Sheba, get his bum ass out of there. But they don't do it because they know they need him. Like that's how you know Sheba's like he does carry weight, and he's the Soga clan guardian.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. We kind of joked around with that, and that's definitely true. He has some sort of reputation in terms of at least the quality of his work and
And if shit does start to
whatever.
pop off, you would want the person that could just make motherfuckers kill him from fall damage. Because he can get people out there quick. He's like your perfect like escape plan.
Yeah, I mean that is a good point. That is like what you're saying specifically is a very good point. But I do side with Black Enigma in the sense that I don't think he's the type of guy that they want to be there. So I do think it's more likely that he wouldn't be there just because.
They
I mean, hey,
are
maybe you're
aware.
onto something.
They are aware how strong those the ones that were basically stopping people from getting the Datanseki on Hiroshima. So I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, maybe it's one of those situations where, like, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't have him there, but because of the gravity of the situation, like you said, no pun intended, they would kind of want him there. Maybe that's exactly where we see a zombie, um, and maybe
You
that's where
just
the kind
waiting
of
for
like
a
the birth of
zombie
them.
boy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nah, I feel
But
that though. Yeah. Oh wait, hold
yeah, in
on. Let me
terms of
just say
having
something real
like,
quick. Lucas,
go ahead.
you about to really make me slander the dude now. But not real shit though. My bad, Dice.
No, I could see them like bringing along like, hey, like it's probably gonna look like Shiba, Azami, and like Joji, or what's yeah, it's Joji,
Joji.
right? Yeah,
You're
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
like Toji.
yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the three-man group they kind of bring alongside the
When
bowler hat
Joji just
guy.
gets one tapped. Ooh, just to like let him know. Or Mashiro gets one tap.
I'm not sure if we'll see like Kazan and Ichiki, even though like I'm well aware that we saw them in the treaty, but that was like after the formation of the Kamunabi, I believe, or what was then turning into the Kamunabi. I think it's more likely that we for sure see the bowler hat dude, and maybe he could be the Soga clan head, the patriarch, or, whatever we want to call him,
Oh,
his attire
they just lost
in
all
that.
their aura.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not really too sold on that because his attire, what he's wearing when they signed that treaty, it doesn't really look like traditional, you know, clothing, right? And that we've seen, Chiaki wear, even Soga, and what we see from the other members of the clan. So that is the only thing that kind of throws a wrench in that. But I do think he's a very important guy, and somehow instrumental in whatever goes down in these Hiroshima talks. Um,
So
Maybe he's kind of like the untrusting one, the guy that isn't willing to believe what Shikoku is selling.
yeah, there's got to be some naysayers that just don't trust them.
Yeah, exactly.
The like Black Enigma said, what they say. I think he's the prime minister as well. Because
Okay, yeah.
someone of that station would have to be present for like the treaty of like to end the war. It'd be an important moment in their history. Now I'm not sure if he's going to show up now, but if their royal family is presenting themselves and they do not meet that with like mutual importance, then that's automatically. Wait, hold on. Did this? Oh, wait, hold on, my bad. I thought my shit crashed. But if they don't like meet with the same expectations like of like meeting the royal family, excuse me, I'm kind of muttering all along, but they will take that as a sign of disrespect because remember these are like political like negotiations here, so there's gonna be important players on both sides as well as their guard. And maybe Hachaku isn't at the meeting, but maybe this is where we see Hachaku start to move behind scenes while they're at the meeting on Hiroshima. While the important figures aren't there, maybe he goes and tries to make connection with Chiaki or something like that. Obviously, that's just a wild out there like one off like guess.
No, but
But
that's what we're doing here,
yeah, like,
right?
but what I wanted to ask you though to kind of like zone this back in a bit. So, you believe that like we're gonna see basically Chiaki get kind of a realization, or like another fragment, another piece on the board, and I think, I think that we will start with either like we'll see them heading to the meeting, or we'll just start at the meeting. But now where we end, I think this is like this upcoming chapter is going to be very telling, like in terms of pacing, because it has like Hokuzona's been taking his time and he's been cooking, slowly stepping us into a lot of things. But with every chapter, and you brought this up before we recorded last episode, that every episode has introduced something new. Shiba and like the whole the island in the first chapter of the flashback. The second chapter was Kunishige. The third chapter was about Subaru being the strongest gripper around, and then last chapter was about the Soga clan. So now like this next chapter being about 117 being about the royal family. I think we're either gonna get like, I don't want to say a jump cut ahead, but I do believe we're gonna get like a massive like piece of the puzzle. I think that's kind of like, well, yeah, of course it's the meeting, but I mean, this meeting could just be a surface level thing and the talks break down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Mango previously in chat had also brought up the possibility. Yeah, he said, I think the end of next chapter there is going to be peace, and later something is going to happen, maybe had shock or something that would cause some misunderstanding.
Well,
So
that's a good
I
one.
can also see this. Yeah, I can also see this like actually going surprisingly well. And it like being like a kind of a little fake out that then gets like rewritten in history. I mean, we've already seen how history has been rewritten in regards to the Seitei War. So it could be that this nothing really goes down in these Hiroshima talks, and it's something that kind of takes place, behind the scenes that kind of builds towards something bigger that actually sparks the war.
Goat
And then
jelly.
holy shit, shout out Alt Jelly. Appreciate that for
Ooh,
5 gifted. Damn,
goatish.
really
That boy
appreciate that.
is goatish. And bro, I don't know what's up with these gifts because like a lot of these people. I mean, I know Wumbo Fruit. I know and Damned One. I know them, but I, hey, game is game. I guess.
Hey, shout out them. And yo, am I stupid for not realizing that that's Jello on his alt?
Mm, bro is telling
I mean,
you
the power,
it's not that deep, bro. Just read it.
the power PFP should have let me know.
Um,
I should have gave it away.
like that is a
Thanks
good
again for
shout
that,
though
buddy.
about what if that they do agree to split the mining rights of the Datanseki to begin with,
Hmm.
and that's how they get the raw material to create all the EBs when it comes time for Kunishige to make them. You know what I mean? Like, cause I don't think that they have like the enough raw material to make all the EBs. I mean, we haven't gotten any um like direct like call out saying we only have X amount. You know they're doing research on it, sure, and it is taking a while, but like them, the talk's going smooth and all's cool, shit's sweet right now. But Hachaku being the instigator to start the actual war, that would be a nice little turn there. And then the shit rolling downhill from that is leads to where we are now.
Yeah.
Angry Demon Noises asks, but what would Shikoku want from the rest of Japan? Maybe Shikoku has to rely on the usage of Datanseki for their existence. If they do come from underwater, maybe the Datanseki powers like the barrier to allow for their like environment to still thrive underwater. Um, maybe their barrier, they have that barrier that they have shields them. Basically makes it like cloaks their island, and that is powered by Datanseki. So they're burning. Maybe the royal family is burning up the raw material on the island, and they got a little worried about them having enough resources. So
Yeah, I
that
mean,
could
you
be
brought
what
up a good
causes
point.
them.
You've talked before about like Kunishige potentially needing more Datsenseki, and this could be kind of what opens the door for that, right? If there is some sort of temporary truce called that allows Japan to mine Datsenseki, as of what Shikoku could want from Japan, we don't really know. I mean, we have no idea what sort of society they are in the first place, right? Of what sort of resources are they lacking? It could have something to do with why Shikoku appeared out of nowhere. We don't really know in what state, like I said, like the society is at in terms of the people. What circumstances do they live under?
Yeah, we know nothing.
You know? Yeah, we know absolutely nothing. I am trying to look for a Black Enigma. You said, remember in chapter 72, Yura said that the royal family, um, it was the royal family that was pushing for the war. And I'm trying to look for that right now,
You
just to
know,
kind of see like the context, and I
Angry
can't really
Demon
find it.
Noises. He said maybe they asked for Chiaki. What if they're looking for a suitable, you know, person to maybe they're looking for someone to marry off to the prince of Shikoku or some shit like that. And they want the Soga princess. They have their spies. They found out about the Soga princess, and they're like, that's who we want. So for the sake of your country's safety, a political marriage. And then Kunishige pisses them off by getting in there first. Kunishige
Oh,
bumming his way into
Kunishige.
having a baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
imagine that means he would be responsible for the war and like on more than one front. It's crazy.
He'd also be the one responsible for ending it, though. He's a man that starts what he finishes what he starts.
I guess.
Let me chill. Fucking get called out so fast.
But yeah, this chapter 72, I remember you and me, we had kind of like that hot take lore drop. I think it was on this chapter. And this chapter has already aged so incredibly like well, in the sense of like just how much there is here. I mean, this is the same chapter where Yura says that he came to deliver the prophecy, and that as long as the sword master lives, another malediction will occur, which at this point is like, now I'm waiting. Like, now I'm waiting for that second malediction, because like, yeah, man, this whole thing cannot be a coincidence in regards to like Yura and Chiaki, which is crazy because we know that only females are supposed to get this ability of the Izanami, what is hailed as kind of like a manifestation of the Izanami goddess or whatever the hell. So there is still questions if it is Yura that somehow got her abilities. I remember, and shout out Shiny, because in the creator server he was talking about how potentially it was Chiaki who gave her powers to Yura, and that's one of the more out there theories. But everything that relates to Yura at this point is just kind of like,
well, he would be like Izanagi.
I said Izanami, right?
Oh yeah, Izanami is what she is, but there is Izanagi.
Oh, Izanagi, that is true. Okay, yeah, Cook, exactly. Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah, I mean, maybe she is still around and she still has her prophecy abilities. And I think there is like something that you said was like, I know you brought up like the whole political marriage thing, but what if they are in search of Chiaki specifically, and this person that every generation wields these abilities? Again, there is a relation to Shikoku, so what if they believe that that is a power that belongs to them or something along those lines? And
one thing we know,
now we're just kind of
so like we know Yura's not from Shikoku, because there's no way Soga would like be in that body. He'd be like, ain't no way I'm sharing a body with.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
No,
I wasn't trying to insinuate that
I know
at
you
all,
wasn't.
but
I was
yeah,
memeing.
yeah.
Like I don't know, like seeing how Soga, or I always just want to call him Soga, man. But now we got the whole Soga.
I mean,
clan.
he is Soga. I don't see. I don't. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
But with Akamura, seeing at like it's funny how they pair his development and growth along with Chiaki's. In the 2 years, they both have like grown exponentially, and it's like utterly amazing that they've grew so much in these 2 years. Why is it that amazing? What we know about Akamura is he was like a sword master really young, like at 17 or whatever it was they said, or 16. I can't remember what Samura said, but like we know like Samura viewed Akamura as like equals in the sense of like before the EBs, because when we saw that flashback of Samura meeting Akamura that time, it looked like they Samura understood him, you know what I mean? But from how they talk about him, 2 years before like chapter 116, he was not built like this. The way the mom talks about him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. We're like, what? Where were you going with that?
Oh, was saying like we always expected that he was like this. Like later, Jello. Appreciate you, bro. Have a good night. Just talking about like
man,
how
appreciate you.
Akamura's been like he's been training with the sword since he was like little, and which still could be true. Not saying that but the way they talk about his development in the past 2 years, it makes it seem like all the heavy lifting has been in these past 2 years, and that growth is on par with Chiaki's like coming to meet her ability, like rising to the position that she has now. And it's it just I thought it was a little weird that they kind of paired his growth with Chiaki's, because from what we kind of like thought beforehand was, oh, he's always been training with the sword, and he became a sword master young, but it makes it sound like most of the heavy lifting has been the past 2 years. Now, of course, the mom could just be only viewing Akamura like by the through the lens of his sister. Like she don't really see Akamura like just for himself. You know what I mean? It could be like some clan shenanigans like that. Like her pride and joy is Chiaki, and you know that's I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me that how they kind of worded that.
I I do see what you're saying. We do have to like yeah, I get what you're saying. Like we were under the impression that this dude was kind of like a killer at
Steadily
8 years old
grinding,
already.
yeah, steadily
Or
grinding. But it's like the
uh,
past 2 years, that all was the growth, was the real growth. And I'm not saying that has to necessarily mean anything. I'm just saying it stuck out to me a bit.
yeah, I mean, and it can also like it is also an open enough statement where like it doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. Like he could have already been very proficient at say 14 years old before, before, because he is 16, I believe, when we saw him last chapter. So 2 years, at 14 he could have been pretty proficient with it, but by 16 he's already like commander level,
Well,
or something along those lines.
like
Yeah.
Lucas is saying, and this is what I brought up in the podcast episode, that there's no inciting incident. It's just the growth was like Chiaki awakening her prophecy ability was the catalyst to motivate Akamura to like give him direction. He might have been like directionalist talent, just talent with no direction. He wasn't motivated, but now he has his sister to protect.
Yeah, I mean I think that's exactly how it's painted. I think that's precisely. I
I'll
mean, we
paint
even
you,
get
bro. Chill out.
that interaction of like her telling him to chill, and he's like, I have to protect you. I have to make the guard or whatever it's called. So I do agree 100%. Like that is um what it's kind of like it looks like. But yeah, I think he was probably already a proficient swordsman, and in the last 2 years, he just kind of took it up a notch and had, like you said, more of a direction now and something, a goal worth kind of pursuing. And just kind of to bring it back to what you were saying about Samura, I think it also makes sense. We don't know exactly in the timeline where that interaction between him and Samura takes place. I would assume right before the war or like right as the war is starting. Um, and I can imagine that if we are kind of putting Chiaki and Nakamura on this trajectory, like the mom kind of alluded to, then I would imagine, or I have this feeling that just like we see kind of Akamura more weighed down and in a completely different demeanor, then I can imagine the prophecies starting to get the better of Chiaki as well. And in that point in time, Chiaki also being a lot more worn down, psychologically a bit more broken by those prophecies, and that is also reflected in her brother, considering how much he seems to care for her. So I do think that what the mom said could have also been some subtle foreshadowing about their respective trajectories paralleling each other.
And I mean, even that, it's like kind of I don't and I don't want to spend any more time on this. Really, it's just like it for some reason a part of me just like is latches on to him being paired with the Soga princess because the Soga princess is the only one getting glazed in this flashback. It's not like this sword genius of the Soga clan. There's no mention of of like anyone that's really taken the spotlight away from Chiaki. It's all her. She's like the pride and joy, and and obviously it is their mother talking about it too. So it just could be a motherly thing that she just sees the growth in both of them. Like I agree, I could just be hanging on this a little bit too much. I don't,
No, there could be something there for sure. Don't, yeah, don't.
it just sticks out a little weird to me. I can't even because like personally I do in the episode I thought it's a more of a motivational thing too. But the more I sit on it, I don't know. That was one thing that just I latched onto. Um, but I don't know where. You have any ideas or predictions where you think 117 is gonna like finish out at, or any kind of
Well, I mean, yeah,
guesstimate?
it's what I brought up. I do think the war is going to kick off. I think we're going to get some sort of like narration. At least this is where I'm still standing on. I do like what Mao said about there being like a little subtle fake out, and that all this all goes like very well, and you know it just kind of ends kind of similar to what we saw in Modulo. Everybody just kind of like kumbaya and like, oh look,
Ooh.
it's you know everything ended well, and then you know something happens at the beginning of 118. But me personally, I'm still standing on the end of 117 kind of being the start of the Seitei War. I was gonna say as we know it, but like I said, history has been rewritten, so it's more so like the reality of how that war got kicked off. I think that's what we get at the end of the 117, some sort of narration of like, and the Seitei War has begun, or you know, and so begins the Seitei War, or Shikoku has invaded. You know, something that lets us know like, oh shit, we're in it now. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout too because I've also this stream's kind of swayed me into looking, maybe these peace talks go smooth, and we see Japan is aware that they don't stand a chance if it goes to war. Obviously, we would have to see what maybe Shikoku they start off and maybe they do just believe that like, look, this was Japanese. This did that island, Hiroshima Island. That's property of Japan. We know that we influenced Datanseki to start popping up there. So while it is a resource that is like can inherently be used by us, we do see that we're kind of encroaching on y'all. So how about we split it? And it starts there. I kind of like I'm warming up to like something along those lines. And then like had Shaku kind of being an instigator to kick the actual war off. But while doing in that time before that necessarily or that actually happens, we see Japan start to prepare for a worst case scenario. Man, we now that we got the Datanseki, we need to try and like we need something to be able to defend ourselves against like this advanced civilization. And then that's when we start to see Kunishige, go through his thing.
Yeah, that's also a very good point. If we kind of go like more or less the Kumbaya route, and these Hiroshima talks do go well, again, referencing Modulo a bit, but I think we could see like naysayers on both sides kind of like not being with all this diplomatic shit, you know,
Mm.
and kind of you know bringing both sides closer to conflict. That is also like a very you know that's sort of how things go in real life as well, but I don't think that's crazy at all. I in fact I do think that would be pretty interesting to see as well. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty insane if they actually like, oh, we've done our recon, and we're looking for a suitable candidate to mayor for our son, and for whatever reason, I mean, there could be there's a plethora of reasons of why that could be, and I think this is super unlikely, by the way. But if there was like a political marriage and that gets thrown into the mix, and Kunishige is the
Ooh.
one that messes that up. Oh,
That's what I'm saying, bro.
and then we could blame it on Shiba too, because Shiba's the one who brings him over there to meet
Oh
Chiaki,
no,
and then we could blame
this
Shiba
dude,
again.
this dude found a way to turn this into Shiva slander. I gotta respect it. Oh man, yeah, that is pretty wild. There is something else, and again, like you said, a lot of the stream, like often is with our theory streams, it is mostly just entertaining these random, but unlikely theories. You know, so again, this is kind of the space for that. But what are the chances as well, and where do you stand on like Hatshaku? If Chiaki is dead, Hatshaku having been the one who killed her.
Was he wearing the fedora when he did it? I'm just playing.
Well, I'm thinking he had a different sense of style, 18 years ago.
Oh yeah, he was wearing a cowboy hat back
Yeah, I
then.
guess.
Or do rag shaku.
Imagine
Ooh,
do ooh would
the
cook.
Dewey. Nah, I haven't really thought about had
Yeah, it is
Shaku,
random, I know.
being the one that actually finishes Chiaki.
Hmm.
I gotta say, like, Soga, has seen like Yura's memories. We don't know exactly how that all works. If he's looked through like all the memories since he's been locked up in Yura,
Hmm.
we just don't know about how that's gonna play out or how that works, that mechanic. But he would obviously had Shaku has spent, the like that's Yura's confidant. That's his homie. That's his right hand man. So if he was the one to do it, then Soga doesn't. Soga doesn't know that Hatshaku is the one that killed her. And
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure. No, for sure.
I would
100%.
love to see the reaction on his face when he finds out, like later in the story. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that interaction. You know what? Never mind. Not a fly on the wall. Somebody with binoculars, ultra high grade binoculars, way the fuck away, because that
Yeah,
boy will
because
click
he's
out.
maledictioning all over
Yeah,
the place.
that boy ain't gonna say nothing. The sword's just gonna start doing its thing on its own.
Yeah, you unsheath that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, he's gonna fulfill a prophecy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things I entertain because again, if I just can't wait till we see like the explicitly the connection between Chiaki and Yura, if there is one, because I also did see Black Enigma kind of talk about like the whole Yura prophecy not being literal or it
He's
more being
LARPing.
like yeah, more being like he's LARPing, which hey, it could be the case. Like, I'm not gonna say that like, oh no, you're 100% has the prophecy gift,
Yeah, he's
because
finessing. He's
it could
trauma dumping on Samura. He knows what's gonna like Hatshaku told him like, oh, yeah, he really,
tell him this. He gave him the comms. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think it could be like one of the bigger red herrings in terms of it is just complete like like I said, just a red herring. It is not supposed to be taken, or it is kind of intended to mislead us. Now that we have this whole Chiaki dump, so it is very well could be just one of two. Either it's just nothing, and Yura was just bullshitting his way through this.
I hope
Maybe, like you
not.
said, because
I hope
had
not.
Shaku. I don't think so. That's what I don't think so. I think this is very much meant for us to like look back on this after this Chiaki reveal, and especially after the Seitei War arc is done with. I think we're meant to kind of go back and look at this, and it is going to be completely recontextualized. And I do also like this implication of like, as long as the sword master lives, another malediction is inevitable. I mean, we can't forget that Yura's intention was to kill the sword master. I don't think he had any real intention of unleashing a malediction of his own just for this, for the fuck of it. I don't think that was his intention at all. He wanted to wield the Magatsumi to bring order to Japan. And sure, if he had to like do some unsavory things with it like we saw, he would have been able to do them, but he wasn't planning on just unleashing the malediction on civilians in Japan. Like, he's trying to
Yeah.
protect them, right? So I do I still lean towards this having been a legitimate prophecy, and I just want to see if there is a link between Chiaki and Yura. Is Hatshaku that link? And if he is, that's why I'm entertaining this idea of him having potentially killed Chiaki. Now, whether he killed Chiaki and was somehow able to steal her powers and give them to Yura, now that is a whole nother leap, and
Yeah,
that
now
it's
but I
yeah.
know
Now
what you
we're just
mean
kind of
though. It's not out of the realm of
yeah.
possibility, technically.
Yeah. Again, I just need to see what this connection is. If it is, if there actually is a connection, I'm not gonna pretend like
You
again,
know,
like there has to be, and if there isn't, I'm gonna be disappointed. And oh my God, Hokazono fumbled. Like no. It's what it looks like to me right now.
I mean, I can almost like imagine it a scenario where Hatshaku also killed Yura's wife, and maybe
Ooh.
he kind of like set all the pieces in motion. He found a suitable candidate for Chiaki's ability. Maybe it's like maybe his tree is actually like a Yggdrasil type fucking sorcery, like a world tree, and it has a power to
Oh my god.
or like you never know what Hokazono has to plan. Like you know what I mean? Like
It's one of those things
look
that
where we're
yeah,
at
yeah.
now. We have a prophecy. We have a clan with the princess that can see future events and shit. Did you expect that back like let's say what
Before the
30
Secret War
chapters
arc, yeah.
ago?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. No, no.
You know
It's no
like
way you can kind of guess those kind of things. It's we've all seen the like we've all kind of joked around with that, like like who the fuck would have predicted that? um
yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the
it's
Hatshaku being like Black Zetsu, but not just in a means of like sneak attacking Madara because there's no other way to defeat him. Like it's be very different. Yeah, like the execution, because we already have more information, or not necessarily, but like Hatshaku already seemingly is going to have a bigger hand to play than what like Zetsu's actually done on screen, on all of Naruto's long ass story.
yeah, and I we talked a bit about that earlier in the stream of Black Enigma, that I do think that would kind of be a bit underwhelming. I think there has to be I personally wish for something a bit more refreshing, and rather than him kind of being this like guy who pulled the string and then jumps in at the last minute. I do think I prefer what you brought up earlier about him just being like a key player that just allowed for things to kind of move forward and take place, and him just wanting to like play his part in the whole thing, but not necessarily being the guy at the end of the road. I
Yeah,
do want to kind of address what Lucas is bringing up real quick in the chat about that crazy theory of it being Yura's wife possessing his body. That is a theory that Micah brought up at towards the end of our last stream, and it is a theory that I'm slowly starting to see pick up more kind of traction. I think somebody, I don't know if it was you, Lucas, but I saw somebody bring it up in the Discord server as well. So yeah, I think it's one of the more out there theories as well. But I've already, again, Micah brought it up, so I'm seeing that a lot of people or some people seem to be on that wavelength. So
yeah, it was either
hey,
him or
who knows?
Farron.
Yeah, him or Farron. So yeah, it could, looks like I said, a couple of people are kind of entertaining that possibility.
Yeah.
But go ahead, man. I cut you off.
Oh no, no, you're good. I was interrupting you actually, but we're not like the type of me and Dice. We entertain as long as there's plausibility in it. We'll entertain it, because
Yeah, I mean,
like you
yeah,
never like the people. I just can't get on board with like instantly shitting on a theory just because I don't necessarily align with it. I personally like taking trips down other people's like headcanon thoughts. At least if there's plausibility in it, and because maybe I might not agree with it, but going through that that thought process might lead me to a theory that I really like, or something along
yeah,
those lines. You know what I mean? So I mean
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
like the whole like point of these like streams, as you kind of said earlier, Dice. Is like we don't leave theories off the table. If we don't agree with them, we'll say it, but we'll at least entertain it. And I mean, I think this is like I just my energy's a little low this stream. I've not been sleeping good, bro. And when I came into the stream, I got hyped for the stream, and then I realized, like, man, I did not have like any mental processing power to actually cook like any theories that I felt like confidently on, just to be transparent. But like, there's things that I prefer and not prefer. There's things like I would love to see Flamebone appear, on the hip of the Royal Guard of the Shikoku people during a meeting, and all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
different things. And I'm mostly looking forward to seeing how far does this chapter go. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I know we talked about it a bit already, but yeah, I stand on like the beginning of the Seitei War, and if not, like if I had to say something else, I'd like what Mango talked about earlier, in terms of everything going well, everything going kind of too well, and that setting up 118 as like the chapter where everything goes down. Um, and yeah, I also wonder if we're gonna see a young Hatshaku, because I do agree that I don't think Hogazono is gonna give us everything on Hatshaku this Seitei War arc. I really don't think that's gonna be the case. We might I think we'll get some on who he is as a character and a bit of it of his origins, but I do think that Hokazono will continue to kind of keep some things in regards to his character close to his chest, to this character close to his chest, excuse me. But I kind of want to see a young Hatshaku. Um,
See, like
yeah,
extremely online
because
guy, I like that. Like he says, I think you're as the other princess's child, and that's why he's so childish. But like, what if she did have a like, I don't see how she could like have a child like without the mom knowing, you know, because like as, but I mean, I guess I don't know. There's just like that would be very interesting if Hokuzawa can find a way to make it work. If you're somehow connected to the Soga clan himself, but maybe indirectly or in a way that even the mother doesn't know about.
yeah, I saw people. I don't. Again, I think this was in the creator server. I don't remember who it was. I think it was a conversation between Shiny and Prince Blade. So again, shout out those guys. But I saw people talking about like maybe it wasn't that she died before she could give birth, which is what is
Yeah.
stated, but that maybe she died giving birth, and then Yura is that kid. Extremely online guy is also saying she faked her death, dog, kind of like
Uh-huh.
the Suzaku thing. She feared her. Yeah, yeah. I think there's the potential of there being more than just what is stated about like, oh, she died before she could give birth. Um, because yeah, we also don't know how much time passed between her death and Chiaki getting her gift. It is stated that females once a generation manifest with that ability, but so does that mean that the previous princess was like a whole generation
Well,
ago? Or was she part of this generation, but because she died, then Chiaki just got it 2 years? Like there is definitely some. It's kept vague. I believe so
it
on purpose.
does say the previous Princess Soga died at a young age before giving birth to a proper heir. So she could have had a son because we know the ability only
Ooh, could
awakens in female in girls. So Yura
Good.
not being viewed as a proper heir, he would still fit in this and it could work.
I see people in chat saying, "Shout out the damned one," which got the membership by Jelly and Mark Cascade, talking about how they rather Yura be a nobody. And yeah, I
I
totally agree
agree.
with that. I totally agree with that. If it turns out that he is part of something bigger, I hope that it would kind of like still kind of like take away a bit of that like we were nobodies, but I think it's pretty evident that he lived his life as a nobody. So even if he was kind of like, let's say, this improper heir, if it is the case that he was kind of like abandoned as a young boy and then grew up as a nobody, I guess I can take it kind of.
You know,
But yeah,
I
I don't know, we'll
think
see.
I think I want Yura's greatest contribution as like, as an individual being the Hishaku. You know, now that
Hmm.
even that like cuz like we talk about like Hatshaku like being the enabler for Yura and help like, you know, basically putting him in positions to meet like these strong fighters to further the goal or whatever, but in general, I think I align with that too, just wanting Yura to like be his own man and go through his own
Yeah,
thing and
random dude.
yeah,
I
dude that's
agree. I
like
agree.
and it would also make sense considering Hokuzono's like biggest inspirations Naruto, and we know like the Rain Village, they were like that's where the wars were like happening during on the in the Rain Village. This was just they got fucked by geography. Geography really
Hmm.
screwed the pooch for them. All the wars and all these battles are happening on on their land, and their citizens are the ones that are dealing with the aftermath and shit, because we also see like the area he was in was had to be close to where the fighting was. So the aftermath of the war led to some seedy characters just kind of doing what they wanted, and that indirectly led to his wife being killed, which was his motivation for wanting to, you know, to bring back the thing that, or the reason for that happening was because the enchanted blades weren't, out, for the safety of Japan and its citizens. So like all that like motivation tracks for me. I'm cool with all that. That's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of what I'm
same.
hoping, but I mean, it would be cool if Yura has some deeper ties to it, but I personally want him to be his own man.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yura's
Bambi
Benjamin
says, but the
Button, Bambi. He's a Japanese Benjamin Button.
yeah, again, the timeline is a bit murky in regards to when that would have princess would have been alive and how much time has passed since then. I do want to revisit, or I guess kind of like address Black Enigma's questions. Do you guys still think Yura is not coming back? Ty, where do you stand on that?
I can't lie. I'm torn because I think that his, we'll say his conclusion in part one, just in a vacuum, was beautiful. The fact that this was a normal guy who, motivated, and he had a clear goal, objective. The ends justify the means. Some people have issues saying, well, like, oh, well, you did all this like shit and all these like unspeakable things to further along your agenda, and you hurt citizens. But the thing is, for someone like that, the ends justify the means, where like those sacrifices, he can compartmentalize them, and he can live with himself with those sacrifices and all those things, if if his end goal does like unseals the enchanted blades, and that's what's happening now. So part of me doesn't want him to come back, because I do think like him saying that we were nobodies is beautiful. And now that we're talking about this, because I haven't thought about that question in quite some time, I'm conflicted, because I do think that there's things that point to him coming back, but personally, I think I'd like for him to just not be here in a physical sense, but even then, I'm unsure. What about you?
I think he's coming back in some way, shape, or form. And I don't just mean that in like, oh, well, flashback or whatever. I do think we'll see him again in present day, even if it's just for a moment, even if it's towards the end of the story, whatever Hokuzono has in store for him. I completely agree with you. I do think that chapter, we talked about it. It was kind of like the exit of Yura and the entrance of Akamura Soga. It was, it was handled so well. But I do think Yura has Yura. I do think Hogazono has more to do with Yura's character. Again, whether it's gonna be something that's in length, I'm not so sure. Um, but yeah, especially if there is a connection to Chiaki and this whole thing, I do think we're gonna circle back around to Yura. And hopefully, whatever Hokazono does with him, it doesn't take away from that moment that we saw. If anything, I hope that it like elevates it. Um,
To
but
be
I can't help but
honest,
feel that. Yeah.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dice.
No, no. I can't help but feel like that Hokuzono has more for his character.
Yeah, see, I think if he comes back, it will he'll kind of be a bit stagnant. Like, where's his character? I mean, obviously, like Hokuzono can introduce like more things and his connections to other characters, clans, um, the events of the just the timeline in Kagurabachi. But I just think that everything that like Yura has like stated, he kind of did. He achieved the enchant, like Soga's out. He's using the enchanted blades to, quote unquote, make Japan safe. I mean, we know Soga's a lunatic, but just in the sense of his goal was to have the enchanted blades being used to protect Japan. Technically, on paper, that's what's happening, as far as we know. We also don't know what, like, I know Soga has a statement about, he has to, like, deal with the body, this, that, and the other. We don't know what that can mean. We don't know how
Yeah,
the
we got no
ability
idea.
works for him to just take over that body. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, like, there could just be in-universe reasons for him to just not come back, like in a physical form. Like maybe he's like a mental
Totally.
presence, which I don't even know how much I would like that, but like I'm open to it depending on the execution, obviously. But
Yeah, I mean, we could also just see a situation that like when and hey, I wouldn't really be mad at this, but like we know that Chihiro has a large, and that's an understatement, but like a very wide skill gap to clear when it comes to taking down Soga. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Yura if he never, if Alchemura keeps his body and for some reason isn't able to address, like you said, the whole body situation that he talked about before the end of part one. I can also take a situation where like Yura fights from within because he realizes that, and I've brought this up before, but like him realizing that Akamura wasn't the hero that he wanted. um and I think it would kind of like also be pretty much in character, and I don't know if redeeming his character is kind of like the right word, or the proper way to frame it, but I can also entertain the situation where he assists Chihiro in taking down Akamura Soga from within. I'll also take that, honestly.
yeah, I could see him looking at realizing like being on the outside looking in as the final battle like ensues, and he realizes Chihiro's the hero that he's been looking for.
Woo!
He's like, that's
Yeah,
the hero that I thought I gave my body to. And he's like, I won't
yeah,
allow you to
actually, yeah.
do with what you want, do what you want, with my body. Like,
Hmm.
and then he basically atones for, like everything by, helping Chihiro win essentially. I mean, obviously that still don't mean it's going to be easy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I guess we can get ready to wrap it up.
Yeah. Extremely Online Guy says, why does nobody talk about how Chihiro is left-handed and Akamura is left-handed? It's kind of hard to fight someone who is like an exact matchup of you with the sword. I mean, yeah, I mean if they're both left-handed, it's
I mean, Hishaku also has the only one with a
hey, we
Hishaku mark on his left hand. I mean, if we're talking about left-handedness, but no, like all of
uh,
them have it on the right, but Hishaku has it on the left. Playing into that left-handed thing.
yeah, I wonder if there's actually something to that.
Yeah, we just
Like, I
never
wonder if
know,
like
bro.
it could just be like nothing. Like it could just be something to indicate that there was something up with Hachaku, which again we all kind of know at this point, but it's always been brought up as like this one thing, and it could just be like just to mean that hey, there's something up with this guy. Like I wonder if
He
there's
wears
just
a
like
fedora.
nothing
Yeah,
there.
but nah, yeah, I mean,
Extremely Online Guy says it is significant.
we just never
Yeah, I
know.
mean, yeah,
Could be red herrings. It could be, we never know what is going on in the mind of a creator. Let me tell
probably
you
is because
something.
it's so.
I got three uncles that are left-handed, and all three of them are assholes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
I'm
really,
just playing.
and hey, maybe I'm just kind of missing something here, but I'm not. Besides the fact that they're family and they're both left-handed, I'm not seeing. Um, yeah, so on you're right. As a lefty, would be very wrong to do, even if left-handed. And no one did that. It was looking for trouble. Well, shit. I mean, who's standing up to Soga?
Yeah,
But no, okay. I'll take.
yeah.
I'm left-handed.
I mean, it could play a part. Hello, damn, like self-insert.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could definitely be something. I
Yeah, for
always just
sure.
took it as a nod of like, hey, they're family, so it is kind of like a nice little wrinkle in terms of maybe kind of like indicating of they still, even though they're like on polar opposites of the spectrum, there's still similarities. That's sort of kind of like bullshit. But yeah, hey, maybe I'm just overlooking something. We're looking something there.
I mean,
We'll
going
see.
through so much trouble drawing him that way. I mean, but you could ask that about like so many different things, though. I mean, it could
We'll see,
definitely
man. We'll
mean
see.
something. Yeah, it's just one of the things that we
Yeah,
have to see play out.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure, for sure.
Yo,
Yeah.
yo,
Anything,
y'all
anything
notice
else?
Hiyuki has 2 right feet.
She
I'm
does
just
not.
playing. I'm just playing. I'm just
She
playing.
does not.
Man,
Stop memeing. Stop
nah.
memeing.
Yeah, no.
Stop memeing.
It's gonna be fun to see though when all things are said and done, and we're like at the final like 5-10 chapters, and we look back at like back at chapter at the end of part 1, we didn't even know that there was a Soga princess like that could have prophecies and snorts another one. He's funny,
I
bro.
like your extremely online guy.
Yeah, that's
I
funny
like.
as hell.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely
Hey,
keep an eye out now.
and we'll
We'll
know
think of
that
you if
that's your
something happens with
theory.
that left hand.
Left-handed
Yeah,
man, extremely left-handed man.
yeah. Trust. If something happens with that left hand, like you're the first person that we're gonna think about now.
But to his credit,
Uh,
to in his defense, it's things like that that are those. It's not. It'll never be brought up in the series itself. Obviously, it's one of those just design and character choices by the creator that when you look back on everything, you're like, yep, it's just these parallels to certain characters that strengthens the bond of like the what they have to offer the story.
yeah. I mean, again, we've seen Chihiro like sacrifice his arm before. Um, I don't remember which one it was. I would assume the right one. Maybe something similar happens against Soga.
Did you know every hand that was cut off in Kagurabachi was a left hand?
Again, you're bullshitting.
It sounds like it could be real though, right? Nah, I'm just messing, but like that ass.
Hokazono would do some shit like that.
Yeah, facts. Hokuto really would, and then extremely online guys gonna be sitting there like big chilling. It's funny.
Yeah.
He did get his left hand cut off. No, it was his right. It was his right. It was his right.
Oh yeah, it was his right. I would assume.
Yeah, Sojo's left hand got cut while Chihiro's right got cut.
Which hand? Now we're like hand scaling.
We're hand scaling.
Which hand did Yura sacrifice?
His middle hand.
His middle hand. I think it was his right as well. I think it was the right hand Yura sacrificed as well. What if Yura's left-handed as well? Nah, we've seen him wield Magatsumi. I'm just talking shit now. See, look, this is what you did, extremely online guy. This is all you now.
Well, you know what?
After this flashback ends, I'm really curious from how others from the Hishaku are gonna react to losing his body and Akamura being. Yeah, Cascade. That stuff. I've been looking forward to that for a minute now. And I think we can expect some infighting. I brought this. You're a member, Cascade, so you can. I don't know if you've checked out our members only video about Soga's new Kamunabi. Those of you new members that are in here, make sure you check that out. But yeah, I also bring up or entertain this idea of there being some infighting and debate among the Hishaku now that Soga's in charge. At the end of the day, it's not like they can they can do much about it, So they either fall in line or get Soga'd.
Get in where you fit in.
Yeah. Chihiro sacrificed his right arm against Sojo. Yeah. Yep.
I think that'll do it for us. Azami arm solos. All right.
I'm surprised he didn't turn that into some Kurorichi glaze.
All right.
Damn it, Mar Cascade, stay safe. The fuck you on? Almost died on top of a mountain. Well, I'm glad you're still with us.
Damn. Glad you're still with us, man. Mar is only mountain. He's only mountain level.
Hey man, in all seriousness, whatever the fuck happened, I hope you stay safe and don't do that shit
back.
again.
I hope you swung back on that mountain. But y'all be cool.
Glad you're still here.
Yeah, nah. Glad you're safe, Papa. Sorry I was a little bit lower energy than normal. Good stream though. Always a blast chatting. Y'all be cool. Me and Dice will be Well, I mean, shit. Probably next week, we're most likely going to be looking to drop the Redux Volume 2, which members will get that a week early. And anything else you got to add to Dice?
Nah, Zoni says good stream. Sorry for not talking much. I'm not a theory person. Nah, Zoni, appreciate you pulling up. You know, you're one of the real ones. Hoping you get that membership soon. And you know, we're gifting another 5 memberships next stream. So hopefully some of you guys that hang around with us and like to chat get one of those. I'm definitely rooting for you.
Yeah, y'all better start
Sasuke
swinging
says,
back, because y'all looking these no shows taking all the memberships from y'all.
you know, here comes the Kurorishi glaze from Zoni. Zoni says, I'm chill. I was looking cooked for a minute though. Yeah, well, what was this, some like heat stroke or something? I'm assuming. Whatever it was. Glad you're still with us, bro. Glad it's all good and
Right.
you're chill. So appreciate everybody for joining us. Fun stream, fun discussion.
Always, we'll have an episode. Podcast will be out Sunday.
Yeah, and stick around for next week as well. Another stream, another 5 memberships to gift, and looking forward to chat with y'all.
Okay, D the man, don't come in here talking crazy at the end, because let me show you something about my goat.
Where do
Watch.
Oh, here we go.
My Thunder guy. Now we're just gonna stay streaming for another hour and a half. That's it. On Dice is so not mine. Y'all be cool though. Y'all have a good night. Everything we said before, we just kind of I'm just kind of circling at this point, but y'all drink some water, even though I haven't. And peace.